Hey guys, what's going on? It's Christian. How you doing? Today we are doing a Q&A. Dun, 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 dun. A lot of you have been sending me questions through email. I love it. If you guys have a question, feel free to email me, christian@thephotosummit.com. Okay, so this comes from a relatively new photographer who is having a little bit of trouble with their in-person sales. Here's their question. Okay, one of the things you mentioned is an area that I'm resisting because I don't know how to present it to clients. The sale of products beyond digital files. I have a hard time explaining the value of prints I can provide versus prints they can have made. I'm also unsure what lab I want to use and the proper process to get the best results. Any advice? Yes, I've got oodles of advice. Get ready, here it comes. Okay, so I want to start out with just the general mindset because a lot of times I notice that we get into the tactics of sales and this, that, and the other and checklists and stuff, but I want to take a second just to talk about photography in general. And the mindset that we're working from, kind of the framework, is that photography is always an investment for your clients, okay? Almost no matter what. When do people ever hire a professional photographer for something that isn't important to them? We're talking about products on the commercial side, so it's an investment in these images are going to make us money. That's like the most literal way, but then also when we talk about family photography, let's say headshots, these are an investment in your career. Any kind of personal portraiture is an investment in your family. Same thing with weddings, events, all of it is an investment. So I want you to, that's the framework. Okay, there are three basic categories that I want to break down into about this problem. And the problem is one of explaining the value of prints that the photographer can give versus prints that they can get themselves. Okay, the first thing here is customers. My question is, are they actually asking this question? Are they actually asking about, well, what's so different about that? The short answer here, the little cheat sheet crib notes, is that you as a professional have access to professional labs and processes that they simply don't have access to. Okay? You also, as a professional, have a lot of understanding that they don't have. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I do want to say this, caveat. As you get higher end clients, they're going to value getting it done right and your expertise more than the money. And what I mean about that is, they're going to be like, oh, it's just done. Like, they don't care about the $1,500 so much as they care about being like, it's done, prints are on the wall, we have a great book. Yes. Okay. So part of this is the expectation that you set with the clients. Clients will really follow your lead. So the more comfortable and confident you are setting a specific expectation of why prints are the right thing for them and why these are the right prints for them, the more you have that kind of ingrained in yourself, the easier it's going to be for them because they're coming to you for guidance. Now, one of the things that I talk about a lot when it comes to sales is switching over the word sales to guidance and not looking at it as you guys are against each other at the table, but you're actually helping them with your expertise. You are their guide through this process. So I want to get you ready so that you can be a better guide through the photographic process, through this investment process, and through prints. Okay, so after you've kind of worked on the expectation that you set for them, which is you come to me for prints, the emphasis is going to be on prints, but you can also bundle digitals with them. There are lots of different ways to do this. Different photographers do it differently. Some people, like Jerry Gionis, will do any image that ends up in a book has been retouched to be in that book, and so he will give them digitals of the retouched versions. And he's like, I don't want to give you, but it's after they've already been purchased and put into a book. Other people will do, if you hit a certain amount on your print spend, then you get digitals. Some people do like low-res digitals, and then some people also just say like, a print and a digital, it's the same thing. So if you buy one, you're buying both either way. There are lots of different ways to do it, but bundling them is a good way to handle it. Now, one of the things is why prints, okay? I talked about, how you can get to a place where you feel really comfortable selling to people or helping people and guiding them. See, I'm not even saying guidance. How you can help them. And the thing is to change your mindset. So my question for you is that if you were going to do this job for your favorite aunt, let's say she wanted pictures of her grandchildren, what would you want her to have at the end of the day? Would you want her to have a thumb drive with the digitals or a Dropbox link or a disc? Or would you want her to have great prints that she could have around the house and she could see every day? I know what I would want my auntie to have, okay? It would be the prints. Digital access as well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but definitely the prints, they're super important. One of the issues is that digitals live in a drawer. When you end up just handing your clients the digitals, they're like, oh, I'm going to print these myself and save money, and then they never do. So that's one of the things you need to think about as well. We're going to talk about that in a hot second. So one of the things, because we're still in customers, is to ask them, why is it important for them to have the digitals? Okay, and they're going to say probably one of two things. It's either they kind of want insurance, like it's just good to have backup, that's insurance, or that they want it for sharing. The answer is you want to address either of these that come up, and you want to address it in a really affirmative way because they're telling you something great. They're saying, I want to make sure that the work that you do, I always have access to it. That's insurance, or I want to show it to my friends because I'm going to be so proud. That's the sharing one. So either way, you say, yeah, that's great. I hear you. It's super important. And then have a way to address each of these objections. Quick crib notes. If they say insurance, you can say, what we found out is in the industry is that if you just hand somebody the files, they get forgotten about, they never get prints, and then people come back to you years later and they're like, I can't figure out, I lost, I don't know, and now I have nothing. And we want to make sure that you actually do get something, and the way to do that is with prints. Okay, there you go. Little objection. Okay, address the objection right there. All right. That was all thing number one of customers. We've got two more to go. They are education and production or labs. So in terms of the education, part of it is that you aren't comfortable really being like, this is why you need these prints. And that comes to your own education in the process. There are so many different ways to print, okay? And I would say that your theme for the next month, if I can give you homework to the person who asked me this question, and if you're feeling that you have the same issue, this might be your homework as well, is your theme for the month is printing. Printing theme. Okay, why? Because prints are hugely important to your revenue as a photographer going forward. I can't emphasize that enough. A good back-end sale to a photographer is fantastic. There's so much money to be made there, but you also need to know why those prints. The other thing too is that it's really important for your customers. Your customers have a way better experience when they have prints on the wall, when there is an endpoint and it's something that they can see every day, or in a book. It's important to both of you. So that's why prints. Okay. So in terms of education, the first thing I would jump into really quickly is actually color management. Do you understand the basics of color management? Doesn't have to be crazy, but do you understand, is your monitor calibrated? Do you understand why? Do you understand the two main basic color spaces for your monitor? And then do you understand how those relate to your lab? Because this is one of those things of professional processes, Your customers might be like, I'm gonna go have these printed at the grocery store or whatever. And it's like, okay, the grocery store, their monitor isn't calibrated to the grocery store, CVS or whatever. And also, not for nothing, but CVS is not going to be running like Hahnemuller paper with Epson printers. So, okay. I would say look into some kind of course or book into the different types of printing, because there are, but be warned, you could go down the rabbit hole here. There are so many different types of printing, but you want to understand. I mean, we now, as photographers, have access to amazing, amazing archival, museum quality printing. We can get super crazy, super fancy with our printing, with the labs that are available to us. So it's just something to keep in mind. And these are things that our clients don't have access to, but you want to make sure you understand the basics of printing. What is this product? What is that product? What does this do? What does that do? Why is this more expensive? Where is this used? Is this used in museums? So yeah, your next month, I would say go in and really look at what are the basic types of printing. Don't get crazy, but check it out. Because the more you're educated on why something is valuable, the easier it is for you to tell your clients that. Okay, I think number 3 would be actually production itself. And this would be labs. So who offers what product? Thought process, this is what you want your mindset to be with your clients and with this whole thing is you want to offer products that your clients are going to love in 5 years, okay? Because in 5 years' time, they've completely forgotten about the money they spent on it. All they have is the product, and you want to make sure that it's something that's the thing. When you go and you hold up a print or you hold up a book or whatever it is, you want to say, is my client going to see this and love it in 5 years? That's kind of the litmus test. So, okay, where do you go to do that? Trade shows. I hate to say it, but old school walking the aisles of trade shows is super important. You can touch the product, you can meet the reps, you can introduce yourself, get their card. You can actually ask them questions about it right there and get super fast responses. And you can also you want to make sure that you love the product as well. You want to be like, this is the right product for my clients because X, Y, and Z. Like, I love it and they're going to love it. That is so helpful when it comes to guiding your clients through things. And really, that's the amazing value of trade shows. Now, WPPI is coming up, and I would strongly suggest you get on a plane and go to Vegas and walk that trade show for multiple reasons. But if you can't, there's a link below, which is actually the vendor list, the exhibitor list at WPPI sorted for labs. So if you're like, what lab should I go to? There's a list of all of the labs. Some of them are just straight up book printers and they might not be the right labs for you, but go through and look at that. That's a good homework assignment to be like, who has what? Okay, so, now that your monitor has been calibrated and you have a list of labs, I would say the thing to do is pick 3 or 4, maybe 2, and call them up or email them after you've done a little research by checking them out and tell them that you're starting out and you want to see if they have any samples that they're willing to send you. A lot of times labs will really just have a packet together of these are our different papers, these are our different processes, this is what you can do, here's samples. You want to see if you can get or buy physical samples from them. Once you've done that, you also want to ask them if they have discounts for studio samples. Okay, this is important because what I want you to do is go out there and start printing things with different labs and getting it back and really learning and exploring and feeling the importance of having printed work around. A lot of times so much stuff is digital and just getting things printed out and boop, 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 putting it up and living with printed material, with printed work is so important. And also I want you to start to get to know oh, I love this product from this lab. When I sent all 3 of these the same file, it came back different from these and I like the best from this one. So yeah, ask them if they have studio sample discounts. The other thing is they all have reps. Chances are they're all going to have reps, and see if you can actually talk to somebody, okay? And also ask them if there's any education they have about their products, like webinars or whatever. They want to make sure that you know about the product as well because they make this specific product and they don't just think you're going to buy it randomly, willy-nilly. So that would be my other thing to do is get in contact with them, chat with them. Lab orders will go wrong at a certain point in time. It's just part of the business that you'll get something and you'll be like, not so great. Happens to all of us. It's just part of the process. So you want to make sure that you have a relationship with your vendor so that you can just hop on email or call somebody up and be like, hey, there's a problem, and they'll smooth it all over for you. Just a little pro tip. All right. So this was the answer to this question. If you guys have questions, holler at me, christian@thephotosummit.com. Also, let me know what you thought about this. Email me back. Let me know if this is helpful, if you disagree. I do have a question for you. You know, I have a process that I do with my one-on-one consulting clients, which is about how the 4 pillars of selling. So this is actually part of the first pillar of selling, but what are the other 3 and how do you do it? And it's really about your mindset as a photographer and your limiting beliefs. It's not so much about the exact, then I do this and then I do that, but it really is like how to get your mind right around what this whole process is. And I've been toying with the idea of making this kind of its own standalone course. So what I would love to know from you guys is that something you would be interested in? Would you be interested in a standalone course that basically helps you with your mindset on the 4 pillars of in-person sales or the 4 pillars of this kind of sale? If so, holler back and let me know. All right, guys, this was great. I look forward to hearing from you again soon. Thanks. Bye.